Hey everybody, happy Friday. I'm Garrett Hartle, this is Out Reptiles, and in response to your comments on our video about setting up your new baby snake, I'm going to teach you how to mix your own mite spray using this. Well, reptile mites are the bane of every reptile keeper. You can get them when you go to a reptile show, you go to a pet store, you visit a friend that has some reptiles, maybe someone brings something over to your house. I'm convinced one time I even got them from wild reptiles into my captive collection. Their eggs are so light that they can be distributed through the air, and they're just really frustrating. They're almost the most frustrating thing about keeping reptiles. I'm sure those of you who are dealing with it are saying, Garrett, what could possibly be more frustrating than snake mites? Well, let me show you, okay? You guys know I've been doing an experiment with my bioactive substrate, and the bioactive part is going great. So, what's the problem? Normally my Superdwarf eggs hatch around like 2 to 75 days, incubated at 89 degrees. These eggs are on day 88. 88! Almost 2 weeks longer than they normally take to incubate, and that is super frustrating. Do I cut them? Do I take a peek? No, I don't do that. You can't do that. You'll ruin the whole experiment. Garrett, why do you experiment with your snakes? Well, because they're my snakes, and I get to pick what I do in order to try to advance keeping them, breeding them, and producing them in the best possible way. So there. Anyway. Super frustrating, but back to snake mites. An ounce of prevention is certainly worth a pound of cure, and I'm gonna show you how to do that at the end of this video. But for now, let me just show you how I mix the spray, okay? Really simple. Pick up a spray bottle. Go buy this stuff. The product is called Permectrin 2. It's an insecticide that's been synthesized from the extract of the chrysanthemum flower, which means like every kind of plant in the world, it's natural, so it must be good for us, right? No, not exactly. This stuff is poison and it will affect you neurologically like a lot of other plants do. And that's actually how it kills invertebrates, by breaking up their neurological functions. And so a little bit of a warning goes along with this, guys. When you're spraying poison into your animals' enclosures, just be a little bit aware of what it is. Now, as poisons go, this stuff is considered pretty safe. It's the active ingredient in medical creams that take care of lice. The shampoos, the lice shampoo that you use is a pyrethrin. It's even used in the military to treat the clothing as a bug repellent for soldiers. But this stuff is purchased in concentrated form, and we need to mix it up ourselves, and the ratios that we do this with are going to be very specific, and I want to go over just a couple of safety things with you in how it's actually applied. Mixing it is easy enough. You take 3/4 of a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, 3/4 of a teaspoon. Fill this up with water and make sure I shake it up really well, even every time before I use it. That's it. 3/4 of a teaspoon of Permectrin 2 in 24 ounces of water, mixed up really well. You can make your own mite spray. Now this little bottle is 8 ounces of concentrate, and you can buy it from like a veterinary supply store online for about $8. That $8 will make 64 bottles of mite spray. So it's a pretty good deal. It works very well, and as long as you're careful with the application, it is fairly safe to use. It's cheap enough to buy this way that it's really easy to treat everything. So how do we use it? Let me show you. Now remember what I said about an ounce of prevention being worth a pound of cure? Kind of like 8 ounces of Permectrin 2 is worth 64 bottles of mite spray. The thing about it is, most people get snake mites when they get a new animal from some facility, and that animal comes in with mites. If you want to prevent that from coming into the collection, this stuff plays a major role. But what I don't want you guys to do is go make a bottle of this, and spray it all over your poor animal that looks like Oreo cookies and cream chocked full of mites. That poor snake is gonna have his skin all chewed up in between the scales, especially around the eyes and underneath the chin where mites love to be, and you're just dousing him in poison. There's an easier way to do that, and it also acts as a preventative way when I get a new snake in. Let me show you what that is. Now, the first thing you want to do whenever you bring in a new snake, whether you can see the mites or not, is give it a soak in water, which are going to kill any adult mites on the snake. But to make that soak even more effective, we need to break the hydrogen bonding. Now, I'm going to use some coconut oil here real quick just to show you what hydrogen bonding is. Now, this water on its own is going to hold tightly to itself because of the hydrogen bond between its molecules, which stops it from getting into small spaces like between snake scales where the mites are. Now, if I add just a tiny bit of detergent, like this Dawn dish soap, you can see it immediately breaks the hydrogen bonding as soon as it touches it. This is going to allow the water to soak in between every scale and really drown those mites anywhere they're hiding on your snake. It only takes one drop. So here back at our mite bath, we want to go ahead and add a drop of liquid detergent to our water and mix it up a little bit before we add the snake. Make sure when you add the snake that the level of the water you use is not so much that that snake is floating and having to swim and tire itself out. Just enough to cover its back should be fine. And we're going to go ahead and leave him in there for about an hour or two while we go treat his cage. As our new snake soaks, we're going to go ahead and use the mite spray to hit every corner of its cage and add our substrate, but we do not add the water bowl because if we get this poison in the water or if there's any left in the air, it could affect our snake. So we just let that dry for now. Once our new snake is done in their bath, we're going to go ahead and remove them from the water and give them a light spray with the mite spray right on their skin. You want to coat the entire body of the snake, but then wipe it all off. This is going to leave just a slight residue that doesn't soak into the animal's skin to keep any mites from trying to get back on it. Now that our cage is dry, we can add in our water, any cage furnishings that we have, keep them to a minimum, this is a quarantine cage, and introduce our snake. Here you go, little fella. I think you're going to like it here. So in order to use it properly, you need to understand a little bit about a mite's life cycle. Now, a mite in a python cage at those temperatures and humidity goes from hatching to laying eggs somewhere around 2 weeks. It's 13 to 19 days. Mites don't generally lay their eggs on snakes. They lay them in the cages, could be in your racks, behind your cages, in your carpet of your snake room, all over the place. And what you want to do is use the poison to kill all those adult mites. And then when those eggs hatch, you allow them to grow up to a size that they're going to be effectively killed by this poison, and then kill them all again before they lay eggs. Then you should be mite free. Now, I would recommend a little bit of redundancy in quarantining a new animal when you bring it in, like we talked about in the last video, of at least a month, but 6 to 8 weeks is better because of that 2-week life cycle. Every 2 weeks, you want to treat for mites using this spray so that you kill subsequent generations of mites, because this stuff doesn't work on eggs. And by doing that several times on 2-week intervals, any of those mites that grew up that you missed, those eggs are going to hatch and you'll kill those as well. Well, that's it, guys. Between giving my snakes a quick soak when they first come in, changing my clothes, if I go to someone else's reptile facility and then I come into my own, I just change my clothes. I try to shower even if I can, get rid of any of that mite stuff. And treating every 2 weeks during quarantine, you shouldn't ever see a mite in your collection. There's your free tip for this week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that this video gets a little bit of traction out here and more people can learn about this stuff. Take care. We'll catch you next week.